Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Doop, 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 doop. I would be pleased to partake of your pecan pie. Pecan pie. Salt and pepper. Salt and pepper, salt and pepper. Hey, there I go. It's a proven fact that if you say salt and pepper long enough into a microphone, it works. My wife is already laughing. That's good. It's going to be a good show. So this is a super casual broadcast. We've got Jess Riss hanging out with us in the studio.
Hello.
Also known as her bedroom. My kid's coming in and out. My wife is getting her classroom ready. It's my wife, Monica. This space over here is going to become a 7th, 8th grade math classroom. 5 days a week. Can be very exciting. But anyway, today, I want to talk about, well, I don't really want to talk about it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make some spaceships and just talk as I go. A couple of ways I do this. Some of my favorite materials, and certainly my favorite project, is just to kind of scratch build some nonsense and do a thing. Ooh, we got a sound, but I didn't see the, which of our widgets is closed. The alert box is making noise. All right, the chat box. There's the multi-stream chat. But the chat box should be showing multi-stream chat so you guys can see it too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a new computer and I am not fiddling with it right now. So what I am going to do first is take some foam. Yeah, my son took all the tape out of here. All right.
Which tape do you need?
Just some of the blue masking tape from out there would be great. Thanks. My wife is grabbing it because my kid's been making this cool box for it. So yeah, I'm actually testing out right now. Oh yeah, I bumped that. I'm testing out a new camera. The timing was perfect. I was making an update for our Kickstarter and a state of the company address. And this camera, this one right here, died. It's now in the trash. But I'd ordered 2 cameras for my wife for her virtual classroom. So I was able to steal one of those, at least for tonight. She's got a couple of weeks before she starts, so you might do all right.
There's not a whole lot left.
Oh my gosh, he used up all my tape.
Even a little bumpy.
All right, time to pick up some more painter's
Oh.
tape.
Oh.
And I'm taping this down because I'm about to cut the heck out of it. My goal is to make 3 spaceships because I would like to make 3 very different spaceships. A big kind of freighter or frigate, a small mid-range ship, and then a tiny fighter. To give you guys an idea of how the different profiles are made when you're not making a complete thing, because particularly if you're talking about a prop piece like this, some of those ships are entirely lacking on the back. You've just got your stand that hooks into the back and you get what you get. Fighters are certainly the exception to that because you're going to see more of them. But I'm going to make a couple of big one-sided ships. And I'm going to do that by settling on this as a scale. I'm using foam core here. So I'm taking several nice long slow cuts across it. It'll let me know when it's finished. No need to rush it. Monica Jess, Greg says hello.
Hello, Greg.
Maybe Greg Zuniga.
Yeah.
Familiar name around these parts. So I'm going to cut 3 lengths out. So that was a 3 centimeter piece. So a 2 centimeter piece. Oop. Which is going to be uneven. That's fine. I can sand shape. I can do all sorts of things later. This does not have to be precise. It just has to keep me sane and fiddling with perfectly straight edges is certainly not a way to keep me sane right now. If this were a commission piece, something important, I'd certainly pay more attention to that. But right now I really am just bugging around just because I need some sanity for my own sake. I have no plan. I have no sketches. Normally I'd sketch a little something or at least find a reference, but I have decided that I'm going to make this as the frigate body, and I've got some pieces that I can, obviously not the whole thing. I'm going to make this substantially smaller, in fact. So let's make this you're welcome to paint if you want to. All right.
Scooch over and occasionally share what I'm working on.
Yeah, whatever you like. You're here. All right. So let's start by getting something a little sharper. Pew. Pew. Oh, maybe she needs to be smarter than my hobby knives. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, well, that's not the first. I'm going to decide we get to pick this up and create an angle. Am I in the right place for the angles I want? Yeah, I'm not, but I'll make it work. All right. Let's see. Here we are. See, we keep getting the alert box. Just going nuts, but it's not showing up. Hello, alert box. I don't know. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna be like, what alert did I miss? I can't tell. It's not a comment. It's like a subscription thing. Oh my God, there it is again. Somebody liking the posts or the stream probably, and I'll never know. All right, here we go. So I am going to always from the top. Cut this here. And then I'm going to cut this here. Suddenly realized I'm making a space RV, but that's fine. Yeah, I tried several times to get the stream to go live properly. New computer, new setup for Streamlabs. It's not, it didn't appreciate what I was attempting to do. So it was originally going to be Sanity Check -20, tiny spaceships. But all right. It turns out I don't like that at all. So I'm not going to worry about measuring specific angles. I'm going to worry about cuts that I choose to make. On this long haul frigate. There we go. That's what we've got here. One sec, folks. Got to grab something. Yeah, we've got to think about Lone Star Runner there and his space RV. Granted, that's not going to wind up my final motivation, but that is a good one. So let's see. Just gonna take this and decide I'm cutting off a section like that. Just making up a spaceship shape as I go. So this is going to be a profile, obviously. I have some other thoughts. I want to make a spaceship out of a cool bottle. In fact, I want to make two. I was actually playing with these the other day, and I thought, cool ideas and stuff. But I decided I wanted to make two of these. One where this was the front, so I put like a cabochon or something on there and paint it properly with masking so that it looked like a clear cockpit thing. And then one where this was the engine and this was the front, and I could still do the same thing, but I wanted to take these two very distinct shapes and turn them into two very different spaceships, oriented opposite. But that's not what I wanted to do right now. What I wanted to do right now was play with some foam spaceships. I like the foamy spaceships. And Jess is sneaking in here to show off some of the stuff that she's working on. Oh, she's got to get past my donor box, though. So, if you guys don't know about donor model, when you're scratch building kits, when you're detailing up kits, you have a collection generally of what you call donor models. And they're models that, as you might guess, are donating pieces to your other models, your other projects. This is one of my boxes of donor models. This one is entirely Gunpla pieces, which I thought would be good for spaceships. But I have donor boxes full of historical pieces, some of the classic pieces. I still have a few of the original kits from which the Universal Gubbin comes from. Hello! But I used to use a silicone mold for my Universal Gubbin. I recently asked Jason Eaton if he had a file that I could print for the Universal Gubbin. I've got to fix that because I've got to know what the alerts are. And he said no because it's too overused, and I had to admit that he's right. So let's see. I'm going to remove that alert box and put it back. All right, let's see, because I want to know what you guys are all about here. Widgets, alert box, essential. Yeah, it's essential. All right. Ooh. Support, likes, stars, shares, follows, CloudBot. I don't even know what CloudBot store is. I'm not going to do that. Done. And alert box. Where are you? Oh my God, you're gigantic and you're over there. Oh, I know why. Because you are just underneath. The layer order matters. All right, chat box needs to go up. There we go. Alert box, face cam. It's on top, desk cam, the header. Okay, there we go. Derp, 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 just like layers in Photoshop. All right, so here's my basic shape so far. That's going to be a spacey shape. And I might actually do it this way. So that's the back. I don't know. Hey.
Hey.
Come on in. Get lucky, my wife will regale you with some scrapbooky goodness too. Yeah, I'm going to orient it this way, I think. And in fact, just get a little cutoff right here. Cutoff right here. Slightly different angle. All right, so that's going to be my orientation now. And now I have these pieces, and I can decide where or if I'm going to align big chunks of material. In fact, I might not want them that big, but I'll certainly use these. And I might use a bit of both because I'm looking at lander legs now for a, let's see, it's going to sit like that. Ramp's going to come down so that these don't need to come down far. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to take a couple of lengths of this. And what I'm going to do is start carving a couple of lander legs out of this. So I'm going to take these two pieces and I'm going to put them side by side. Now I already know they're longer than they need to be, so I don't need to worry about them being completely straight, flat, anything like that. Right, so kaboom. In fact, I might just work on this one for a while because now I want to give you guys the illusion of the ramp coming down and set you up with a proper forced perspective to make it look like a spaceship, like landing and stuff, but that's beside the point. All right, so step one. Oh, see? Skyline Shack is like the stream. Yay! Now that it's just on top, we know what's going on. Thank you, Scott. Oh my gosh, I'm making it bigger. No, don't get smaller. Why is it going opposite? I don't know. The world was weird when I got here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's updated up here. And Alexander and John and Noy have all liked the thread. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Andrew Simmons. Thank you very much, Andrew, for liking our thread here. All right, so I'm going to take this and use my ruler like a reasonable person would. But that means I'm going to have to tape this, which means finding a section of tape on the last teeny tiny bit that my son left me. I mean, seriously, this is maybe 2 or 3 layers left. This is great. That's all right. I don't care. My son found something creative to do after 5 months of shelter in place with no access to other children. So if he wants to use tape to decorate a box and take my art Sharpies and do unspeakable things with them, like ruin the tips, you know what? I'm going to let him. Because, holy cow, at least he found something to do. It wasn't a video game. All right, I am too lazy to keep measuring that properly, so we're just going to cut like that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Big space like that. Look at that. I eyeballed it right. So I'm just eyeball cutting. Doesn't need to be perfect.
You're not actually cutting eyeballs.
What? Cutting by eyeball. Eyeball cutting. Cutting by sight.
Sounds something more like I would do.
That's because honestly, I just really do just want to have fun building a couple of quickie spaceships. Granted, I still need to orient this correctly, or I will be sad. All right. So assuming I still like it, I have my lander started. Little extra gubbin. I'll use rounded for this part. So I'm not going to use this, but it's going to be my size guide. So I'm going to take this one. And now, even if they are asymmetrical, the piece that I just laid out, the pieces will match, so it won't matter as much. It will look like it was intentional.
Meanwhile, as Mr. Justin throws caution to the wind, I have 2 watercolor projects in progress, and both of them are full of meticulous detail. No caution for me.
I also didn't paint miniatures the way you did though either. I remember the first time, and it wasn't me, I remember it was Roman Lapat. The first time you saw an artist just like dip a brush into paint and like stick it on a model.
Yeah, it was like 11 p.m. in a class at Nova, and I saw Roman, and I was like, what are you doing besides crushing my soul?
I think it was a couple of years later before you saw me actually take a squeezy bottle. I'll take the dropper bottles, and I'll just squeeze it onto a large piece because I need a bunch of burnt umber there, so why wouldn't I just take my bottle of burnt umber and go, then a half-inch brush and go. I use a lot of quarter, eighth, and half-inch filberts, and yeah, I put a lot of paint directly on the model because I just don't care.
And anyone who's met me knows that a size 0 Rosemary and Company is pretty much my de facto brush for all things in life. Except for watercolor. I have a size 3. Gasp.
Alright, that's 2 of these. I need 2 more, and I didn't cut enough to get 2 more, so... Oh, yes, I did. Look at you. But Mr. Justin, if it's 2-dimensional, why do you want 4? Well, because in this case, I decided to give it landing legs, because I'm a dope. I took my easy project, and I made it more complicated, like I do. That's what happens when you're not working from a plan. Concept art. Just like onward.
I am going rogue right now. I didn't bring my initial concept sketch over to continue work on this piece. I'm just hoping the values work out.
What about you, honey wife? How's prep going on the classroom over there?
I kind of have a desk space now, cleared off from my scrapping stuff.
Hey, look at that.
Piles of notebooks.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go look and see how I can get my get-to-know activities, maybe to go digital. Maybe. Wish me luck. I hate digitals. I didn't want to sit in front of a computer screen. I like sitting in front of kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids are way more fun.
It's a brave new world. And it's on fire.
Literally. If you followed either mine or Justin's Facebook post today, you know that while we're about 80 miles an hour from the epicenter of the largest fire...
Oh, we're actually from the largest. Yeah, the one in Vacaville is big too.
Yeah, from the largest fire. Our skies are orange and it's raining ash.
Yeah, it's really weird looking out the window.
It's been sunset since sunrise.
Yeah. The sky is orange. Ash is literally falling from the sky like a light snow. One of those flurries where you go, oh, it might snow tonight. Yeah. But ash. All right, so, Mr. Justin, why 4 of these? And again, that's because I decided to make a landing craft. Now, I made these too long on purpose. Because I can cut them shorter anytime I want, but I can't decide to make them longer. So we've got landing legs. Maybe it's a little walker. I don't know. Is it a walker or a landing craft, folks? Help me out here. And hey, Chris, good to see you.
It is Fallout. We're on the fringes of the storm. And it's closing in. 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Well, you guys...
want to see a big-ass dragon in the sky, though, seriously.
Well, you guys debate whether this is going to turn into a landing craft or a walker. Since, I don't know, it's just crazy times now, and I'm making stuff up as I go. I'll be right back. Come on up here. I'm going to offer you my hand. You're coming out, Jess, my hand.
Yes, please.
Look out, dog. I'm going to hit you in the head. You gotta move.
Move, dog.
Move.
All right, Mr. Justin is gone. I can share what I'm working on. Well, the white balance is incredibly off. But this is a plague bearer that I started drawing, I want to say in January. So, I had... Okay, so Chris, you say a walker. Alright, so I started drawing this painting back in January, before we really knew the scope of the coronavirus. I have mixed feelings about this painting and even starting it or continuing to work on it, but here it is. complain about my painting light being super duper. Hello, Mario. Justin will be right back. And hi, James. Monica will be right back too, Mario. I was going to say I would complain about the suboptimal lighting conditions today, but normally we would have the blinds open in the studio and we'd have lots of natural light flooding in. But again, wildfires. So not so much natural light today, unless we want an ominous orange glow. Hey, what's going on, Nick? So Mario, yeah, the sky has been orange all day. I mean, it's been like perpetual sunset, and ash falling from the sky, like a very light snowfall. I worked in the warehouse this morning from a little bit after 6:30 until 1:30, and had to wind up. For most of that time, I was alone, but I had to wind up putting on my mask anyway because when you have to break up the albuterol or break out the albuterol, you're breathing in too much smoke and ash. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we're holding up.
So
Mario says hello.
Hello, Mario, and I saw greetings from Alaska too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking 2 of these landing legs and making them smaller. Why am I making them smaller? Because they go in the back.
Thank you kindly, Nick.
Hey, Nick has liked the stream. Thank you. Yeah.
Nick's my my old Pokemon kid / then employee / longtime karaoke buddy.
Nice. Alright, so I'm making this set of legs smaller because no matter whether I decide it's going to be a walker or a landing craft, they would be smaller because they're in the background, not the foreground.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mario. Yeah, it's a mess.
Oh, Mario South Bay, yeah. Man.
That's worse than us, yeah.
The vast majority of my friends that left Sacramento went to Sunnyvale, San Jose, Santa Clara. They work at places like Apple, NASA, Google. Yeah. Let's see. A dual functioning landing craft that after walking becomes a walker. Well, let's say walker.
Yeah, lots of cries for walker.
Well, 2. But no cries for a spacecraft, so... Alright, we're turning this into a walker all of a sudden. What the hell? I said everything was on the table,
it's
now.
sci-fi. It counts, right?
Everything is random. Alright, you are my 2 small legs. You guys need plugs.
For any of you that have followed my artistic career, none of you will be shocked that I am currently painting feathers using phthalo green shade blue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the contrast is redonk.
Oh yeah, the contrast. Wow, our white balance is crap.
The white balance is awful.
All right.
There's way more going on in this painting than that shows.
Yeah, why don't you move that? I got my pen. Let's see here. This is the brand new desk cam. Ross Thompson likes the stream. We are a big deal.
Surprise!
Configure video. All right. Let's see. Oh, that's right. This is the new camera where I don't get... Oh, wait. No, I do. I get white balance control. All right. So let's see.
Oh, that's on. Thank you, Mario.
All right, that should help.
Well,
A bit.
it's
Still oversaturated. Like
still
the light is
oversaturated.
saturated.
Yes.
Lissa, hey! Hey, good to see you. I know, Greg, right? Like, we got Ross. I love giving you a hard time about that, Ross. I'm going to keep that because that's going to become part of our spaceship. I'd like to say I knew Ross before he was a big deal, but he's always been a big deal. Everybody likes Ross. He's a great example of what happens when you're not a dick in the gaming industry. It was still my greatest example was I did a lecture once, a panel at Adepticon. And it was me, Victoria Lamb, and Ronnie Renton. Victoria Lamb from Victoria Miniatures, of course, and Ronnie Renton from Mantic Games. And we were talking about the gaming industry in general, but also how to reach out to different companies of different sizes, was what I had pitched earlier. Like, I really wanted a small, medium, and large company there to talk to the community about how to reach out to these companies in different ways, because reaching out to me is different than reaching out to Vic, which is different than reaching out to Mantic, and that was the goal of that. But they'd asked us each, the moderator that we had, for one specific piece of advice. Like, what's the one piece of advice you say that everyone has to know? And it went in order, Ronnie, Vic, and then me. And I was just like, well, don't be a dick. Because at some point you're going to meet and work with everyone in the gaming industry. The industry's only so big, so you're going to meet all these people. So we did this class, and that was all well and good. And afterwards, head down. This is at Adepticon, so at the old place. So we went down to the burger joint in the pub. And I walk in, and people from the class follow us down and join the group that was already there. And as I sat down shortly afterwards, three things happened in quick succession. First, two groups of people came over to me within a minute of each other to bring me a Manhattan and say, hey, Mr. Justin, you've supported our event or our gaming group, whichever it was. We know you love Manhattans. We don't want to interrupt. We can tell you're busy with your friends. We just wanted to give you a Manhattan and say thanks for supporting us. And before I could even react to that, my buddy Kevin and I think Ross come up to me with one of my most prized, what is now one of my most prized possessions. At this particular Adepticon, someone had gone around with these printed out cards of Romeo from Battle Foam being a douche. And they were everywhere. These colored cards were everywhere. So I think it was Kevin and Ross who came up to me and they're like, dude, you have to see these. So I'm literally sitting there with a Manhattan on the table, a Manhattan in my hand, and these 4 business cards in my hand going, you see what I mean? But then it got better because, again, I think it was Kevin and Ross went to Romeo and said, look, dude, you need to own this. And what you're going to do is take those 4 business cards, you're going to autograph them, and you're going to put them up on the charity auction with a matching donation. I bought the hell out of those. Because it was such a great object lesson where I'm like, you know, look, just don't be that guy.
Still that guy.
He is, yeah. I'm not.
No. Talking about Romeo.
All right. Well, probably shouldn't.
Fair.
Obvious troll. Ooh, good. You look like a guy that owns a cat.
No.
Sorry, obvious troll.
Cats need to go away.
Cats are gross.
Cats are disgusting. They make your house smell like piss. They cause depression.
And they have parasites that can literally make you insane.
Yes.
Can literally make you the crazy cat person. No.
Sorry, obvious troll. You lose this argument.
All right.
Gotta love the trolls.
Well, I don't know who it is, but I love the idea that it's like obvious troll. Like,
Yeah.
what a great name. All right, so I need to. Well, that's not going to work, Justin. You need to just make decisions. All right, I'll do it from this side. I want that much showing. I'll probably need some.
Hey, Mika! Oh, my friend, I miss you so much.
Oh.
We will have to agree to disagree on Inception, but otherwise I think we mainly agree on everything else, and Mads Mikkelsen is God.
What about Inception?
I love Inception. Mika hates Inception. It is our first in the 4 or 5 years that we've been running in a circle, have encountered a film that we disagree upon.
Oh. I'd be curious to hear why. Because Mika, I'm sure you'll understand, over the last 5 months, I've heard a little bit of opinion from Jess on films. I'm not saying that she's got strong opinions about cinema, but
Well,
that's because that doesn't go nearly far enough.
happens when you're a cinephile. I'm sorry. No, I don't apologize. I have a
Yeah,
very
don't.
deep, I have a very deep knowledge of cinema and actors and directors and strong opinions that come with that.
You do what people do to baseball all the time, and nobody asks them to apologize for it. I mean, I might. All right, so.
But seriously, Mika, send me a PM and let me know why you hate Inception. Really curious. Yeah, I know, Greg. I'm super opinionated about movies. Thanks. Just remember you took the annual suicide pact with me with Batter Santa.
So one of the things I just did was make sure that if this ramp, because I'm going to put a little ramp right here, came down, it would actually hit the ground with the legs where they are. So they do. So I'm now going to cut off this excess leg right here because I don't want to see any of that. Oop. Oh no. See? That guy poisons everything. Saying things I shouldn't say. It's the end of the world. I've been drinking. California's on fire. One of my friends has already lost their house.
Oh, by the way, anyone I know?
No, you haven't met him yet.
Okay. I hope to.
Yeah, I hope you get to as well. And we'll see what happens with them next. But yeah, we there's a good chance another 2 of my friends will lose their houses, and 1 will lose their business. So climate change, it's a hoax.
Well, I don't know if you saw or not, but Tox,
Super kidding. So you know.
Tox had random thunderstorms today and lightning strikes.
Yep. That's not as deep as I would like. I might try to add a couple more divots to the legs here if it's not too late. Let's flip this over.
For those of you unfamiliar,
It's never too late. It's going to melt my stuff anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so one of the things to remember is that cyanoacrylite will melt foam core.
Oh, it eats foam core, I know.
Yeah, but in this case I
built a
thought...
lot of terrain out of it.
Well, in this case I thought that I had... because it was the paper side, I'd be immune, and I clearly was not. Normally, I use wood glue for this, but that's why I was saying I would do 3 projects. Is I would wood glue them, and I'd take my time and do things right. But I don't want to do that.
Feel the need to do a quick and dirty fun thing, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
I am Horky Borky. Oh, and if I don't press, I'll be better off, because what's happening, as I just watched it happen, is that I'm pressing, and it's causing the cyano to come up along the sides and get into the foam.
I'm really sad that Obvious Troll never responded back.
Yeah, because we can do some trolling. And if I run out of steam, I can call much better trolls. Like my son, he plays enough Fortnite to be really good for a 9-year-old. At trolling, that is. I don't know that he's good at Fortnite. Hey, Everett, thank you very much for liking the stream. And Duke Fairy's pretty good at Fortnite.
Fortnite, the game I installed on my 7-year-old laptop only to discover, even on the lowest settings, I cannot play Fortnite. I have a great sadness about this.
All right. Well, we're going to let this melt, glue, or whatever it does. And I'm going to come over to a plastic piece because plastic is nicer to work with. All right, folks, your call. Is this the Yakult bottle that is going this way? This is the cab, this is the cockpit, and this is the engine? Or is this the cockpit and this the engine? Because I'm going to make both!
Well, if you go wide end as cockpit, you need a giant cabochon there.
Yeah, I have some giant cabochon.
You threw them at me and I stuck them away somewhere.
Yeah, well, I go grab my giant cabochon. When it's convenient. You keep painting. I can do plenty of other stuff before I have my giant cabochon. Well, I need a small one for this end, or a big one for this end.
Painting feathers, and that's going to take forever, whether or not I take a
Well, I can always go
break.
get my giant cabochons.
You don't know what drawer I stuck them.
That's true. I would just be digging. Who knows what I would find?
Glass.
Yeah.
Beads.
But all right. What about you, Obvious Troll? Which way is this spaceship going?
He gave up because we're no fun for him.
We're no fun?
We're no fun.
Is the fact that we're trying to engage you just disappointing?
Probably. Trolls don't like to be engaged. They like hit and runs. Well, then the question of the hour is, where did I put the cabochons?
All right. So now, thanks to a bit of addition, you can see the lumpy bits I put back there, right? We've got something that looks like it's standing, and I can adjust the legs. This is still, ooh, melting. Ooh.
Careful.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to use wood glue. I have to admit, for all the time I've used foam core, and that is a lot. I have a giant case of it outside in the garage. I use a lot of foam core. I've always used wood glue, and I just sort of assumed that if I did it paper side, it would work. And it doesn't. So don't do that. I'm not shocked. And I can see exactly what it is, again, because I pressed down and the glue seeps up into the foam. It's melting, and yeah, I should know better. But that's all right. It was still fun to build that. I still show off the forced perspective idea, and now I get to turn a Yakult bottle into something else.
Well, congratulations. I have no idea what I did with cabochons.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, we did have additional comments. It just wasn't refreshing. It just did. Obvious Troll says, I choose it because people could never tell sarcasm on YouTube. Okay. You know, I've got to admit, if you're like Obvious Troll because you're being sarcastic, maybe. Granted, you did open with you look like a guy that owns a cat, so I don't even know. It's one thing to say you look like a juggler. That's probably the weirdest thing anyone has ever said to me, especially since it was true at the time, and yeah. Well, Jess isn't sure where she put the cabochons. I threw at her the other day, but I'm still coming back to you guys for a decision on which end is the front of this spaceship. Because I can do a lot before we even get to that point. But I'm not making a decision on my own. I have made plenty of decisions today, and I'm all done. I will instead point to, again, the slight reinforced perspective we have here on our new walker that just fell apart again. Yeah, it just goes through the paper. I guess I should have known that. It's okay. I do enough of this that I have my wood glue handy. Just means I have to be patient. Which normally for this kind of work is easy for me because I'm usually doing other stuff. Right now, the only thing I'm doing is this. The only thing I want to be doing is this. So I want it to glue quickly. And there might be somebody out there who's like, well, Justin, why don't you just use Zip Kicker? And the answer is because that will also melt the foam core and make everything infinitely worse. So this sits nice and flat. And again, we have some perspective of depth, which I can really reinforce by overlaying some tubes on top of this little sucker, which is what we'll do later. But you really can't find the camshafts out.
I can't. They're gone.
How very bizarre. Narrow end, Greg, you're the one commenting. Narrow end is the cockpit or the engine? Is it going, or is it going? Wait, no, that's the same. Which end is the engine? I assume you mean narrow end is the engine, but either way, we get to talk about some fun masking. And I might even spray one of these with a cabochon on it while I start the other one. Because a lot of time, in fact, I would argue most of the time, with spaceship models, particularly large spaceship models, masking is 90% of the job. You will spend an endless amount of time masking just to get it right. So the narrow end is the cockpit. All right, so we're going this way. All right, I don't need my shaping tools because I'm not using wood putty yet. That's right, I use a lot of wood putty. All right, narrow end is the cockpit. I've got a selection of plastic card here, a selection of wire and pins. That's my thickest wire. So I'm gonna use some floral wire for this one. I'm gonna use some pliers. Your clippers, you don't belong in this drawer at all. I need you. I need you. Rounded and flat pliers. Hobby knife. Ooh, I'm gonna go get the chopper out of the garage.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. I need the chopper. Chopper's in the garage. I must get the chopper. That's a wig, but it doesn't do me any good. I will be right back, folks. I need to go get a cutting tool.
to dig through the garbage.
One of my favorite tools. This is the chopper. Get to the chopper. There's a chopper too. Oh my goodness. Suddenly the chat screen just caught up with everybody. All right. Everything good over there?
I'm digging through the garbage.
That sounds great. All right, so I am looking at this thing. This is going to be, the narrow end is going to be the cockpit. We will find the cab sheds at some point. If not tonight, I will figure it out another night and show you guys how I would mask that. Because one of the things I was going to do was mask that. And that's why I was talking about masking earlier. But
not as deep as the cab shed will be.
I won't need you yet. So let's take a look here. First off, I'm actually going to see if I have my sandpaper handy. I don't. Yeah, it is kind of funny. But I'm randomly... What's this?
All of my things.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you. Start pulling out some of my Gundam donor bits.
Aha!
Pull out some big things. Hey, look at that. My captions. Alright, so we are doing cockpit on the small end. It's going to be this one. So there we go. We're going to wind up doing that. And I'm going to mask this so that we still have clear sections when it finishes. I probably won't get to do all of that tonight, but it's what I'm going to do.
Well, that was a detour.
Thank you. All right, so we are... We are an exploration vehicle, clearly, because big dome. Body, ooh, could be a hauler, though, if we divide that in half and just put windows up on the top. Well, either way, what you need right out the gate. Seamus, I'm actually in the middle of a broadcast. That's okay, kid. My kid is... Seamus, close the door, little pants. Thank you.
I got it, little one.
To the surprise of nobody, we discovered that several of my friends and their children play Fortnite. And now my son has a whole group of people to play Fortnite with. Alright, so I have a section of floral wire here that I have straightened out. One of the nice things about floral wire at this scale is it'll translate larger, and I can do some interesting things with it. I have plenty of wire over there because metal wire and pipe is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. But I also have all of these great little Gundam bits that I can always take a look, get a feel, decide they're crap. My historical kits are largely organized by kit because I know that there are certain bits I'm going to want to use from those kits. For instance, the Universal Gubbin, which I used to have a silicone mold for, but recently was informed and had to agree that the Universal Gubbin is finally too overused. Because apparently everyone can 3D print it now. These are some of my historical kit pieces right here, in fact. This appears to be a Warlord Games Stug. Do we have anything FWBX0200? Yeah, I think this is a Warlord Games Stug, which is perfect because what I'm cutting off right now are the ammo widgets, control panels, anything like that. Because the trick to making something like this work are three-dimensional overlays. You want to make it look layered and deep. If you think about the Millennium Falcon and all of those little circular holes it has on it, into which wires go into and come out of, or sorry, big pipe conduits, I guess, in reality. But at scale, it's just floral wire and stuff going into those little pits. And you want to do that because it helps sell the illusion. So one of the first things I'm going to do is look for a collection of, in this case, a couple of weapons. Yeah, I've got my little Stug cannon, I've got a little circle, I've got this big piece. But I'm going to look for some small gubbin pieces. Gubbins, in this case, we've got a little vent, a little hatch, some things that look like power conduits. And obviously, I don't mean what they really are in terms of the historical kit. I mean what they might look like here. Couple of good vents. Don't need a hand. Might want this. That's a nice wide bit. It'll stand off from the body quite a bit. Next. And I will go through piles and piles of these and see if I can find anything that actually works for me. Like these vents here. Hey, wait a minute. It looks like it reconnected automatically. Whoa!
Ah!
I need glasses. Alright, well, hopefully somebody's still out there. It looks like it reconnected automatically. Scott has liked the stream, thank you.
Oh, that's good.
The scream. Ah! Alright, what have I got over here? That's right, I took my glasses off because I was looking at some of these interesting Gunpla parts. Now, before anybody gets really upset about the fact that I have all these Gunpla parts. Oh, this is PE. I don't want to use this. Yeah. Or ABS, rather. These are all from, and thank you, Derek Osborne. Oh my gosh. We're a big deal again. We've had Ross Thompson and Derek Osborne. Man. We get all the cool kids. But yeah, before anybody gets too bent out of shape about, hey, Justin, what's up with murdering all of these Gunpla kits? These are all Gunpla kits that my son started and didn't finish.
Darling Ophia. Please out.
So
Please out.
I have
Please out.
zero angst at turning them into donor kits. Particularly since Gunpla kits are full of so many good donor bits. You just can't beat them. Now, to be fair, I also think that you'd really have a hard time beating Gunpla kits for cost to quality ratio, too. The idea that you get this fully articulated robot model when you're finished for, you know, 20, 40, 60 bucks is really tremendous. Who dat? Keith, thank you very much for liking the stream. Well, I don't know that I'm going to need any pieces this big, but I certainly like them. So let's take a couple of these off of here. Those are some cool looking wings. All right. I'm going to argue that for all intents and purposes, I have enough donor pieces here for my Gunpla kits to give me some idea what's going on here.
Intensive purposes.
Intensive purposes? Did I say intensive purposes? Oh, goodness. I was going to say, did I really? Next thing you know, I'll see Prawley or Library. Made me sad. All right, so thanks to Greg Zuniga, we've decided that the Cabashan goes on this end, and that's going to be the cockpit. So this is a ship going this way.
Keep encroaching on your space.
That's
so I
my
can be on camera.
engine. Yeah, that's why I scoot over. All right, so I'm less worried about what happens here because I don't intend to show much of the butt. This is going to be a side piece, just like our weird little walker here right, with that illusion of depth, even though it looks like this, we're only going to do one side. So I'm taking one side of this, and I'm going to do it at a slightly oblique angle so that when I do photos, I can get this range. Maybe a little bit from the top, but just a few shots from this range, which means largely this side can be empty. And I'm going to use that to take a section of wire, bend it at 90, stick it in the back so that now it's floating. But using just the pieces I have here, let's take a look. I'm going to fill it in with wire. I'm going to fill it in with all kinds of goodies. I'm just looking for interesting pieces. So we've got some vents and some loops. Let's take the smaller vents first. Whoop, whoop, and lose them. All right, so that'll be the first thing I'm going to do. Now, I want to talk about super glue for a minute. Cyanoacrylate has a limited shelf life. You buy a bottle, unless you're using a big bottle quickly, it's not going to last. That's why you have trouble opening your giant bottle of cyanoacrylate. The top is all crystallized. It doesn't want to cure. I really recommend smaller bottles of super glue, cyanoacrylate. Not all super glue is cyanoacrylate. Learn your chemicals, please. But in this case, I always use these teeny tiny little tubes of cyanoacrylate. It's not the most cost-effective option. It would certainly be more cost-effective to buy a giant dispenser, but it has a very limited shelf life. So you want to use up your CA within a few weeks of opening it. And if you can't do that, you're buying too much CA.
Which is why I generally consider these 1 to 2 use tubes.
Well, thank you for liking the channel. I hope that CA advice is what did it. I'm gonna put a medium one here, kind of in the same line. There we go. And, of course, a medium one right here to keep it symmetrical-ish. They do not need to be pointing in the same direction. I think it's more interesting if they don't. It might make more sense if they do. So maybe I'll change my mind. There we go. On a similar general direction towards the rear.
While he's doing that, I'm going over my phthalo green feathers and adding touches of ultramarine violet.
And this little fish is going. Lord, Lord, Lord,
That's the
Lord,
dorpiest
Lord.
koi ever.
All right. All right, so I am doing this orientation, which means I still need one here because that will be visible from the 90. And that piece is missing. There it is. Way over there. Chicka-pow. Oh, oh no.
Oh, where'd it go?
Well, it's probably super glued to my pants now. Oh no, it's super glued to my pants. All right, well, we don't need that piece. I never needed that piece. I didn't even like that piece. I didn't want that piece.
Seems fair.
Almost the right orientation. Maybe there. So if this is our even side right there, and this is the top, then I can do something different here since I just buggered that up. Let's see. Ooh, you need to get out here and show off because
I miss doing broadcasts.
I miss doing broadcasts too. I miss doing broadcasts a lot. Alright, so now I've decided we're going to start changing up the top of this. Whoop. And that piece is also going to go on the floor. But I can at least find this one. That is not that piece. Yep, that is not that piece. Congratulations, you're watching Where's That Piece with Justin and Jess. Alright, screw the cockpit.
The question
I'm moving this way.
On your foot or on your pants?
I'm moving this way. Yeah, the answer is usually. Goodness knows I've wound up pieces glued to these pants many times. Alright, so I'm just going to start moving sideways. I'm going to start making interesting engine instead of interesting cockpit. Because I can't finish the cockpit until I can...
Find one of those pieces you dropped on the floor?
No, mask and paint.
Oh, okay.
Because before I do the cockpit, again, I'm going to use that cabochon in the front.
Right.
But I'm going to mask the ever-loving heck out of it. Because what I'm going to do is cut some teeny tiny pieces of tape. So first off, I'm going to take a regular old piece of tape and go like, ka-chow, halfway. So.
Right, so you'll be able to paint bottom. The top half will be your view, and the bottom half will be painted.
Yeah. And then for the top half, what I'm going to do is take 0.5 millimeter strips of tape and make a grid, and then put a thing around so that we have a cockpit like this. So that if I take,
you're not going to paint tiny little people in the background?
I don't know about tiny little people in the background. I can. Now that's one of the benefits to using a cabochon like this, is that I can actually get tiny people painted in the back. You'll see them from the front. And if we're going to do that, I'm going to probably ask Jess to do it, because she could actually pull it off. Yeah, and it wouldn't take much.
Kind of why I was asking.
From a person who can actually do it.
And I've done cell painting before, so I understand the concept of having to paint.
So see?
In layers.
We'll have a little cockpit, and she can put some little people on. It'll be great. Uh-oh. Are we still live? I'm going to assume so. Because if not, I'm just going to keep doing this anyway. All right.
It's 5:30. Are we ordering pizza?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I didn't get a response. Just adding pieces. One at a time. Fill in my space. I realize we're not doing a lot of building. Let's see. Oh, yes. There we go, particularly with the engine at that end. All right, so... If you're just making a kit for fun, just make a kit for fun. You're fine. It was one of the challenges with the early Star Wars kits, is that they had so many Tamiya parts, is they couldn't faithfully replicate the models for toys. That's great to comment, would you?
Egg!
Oh, I meant. All right, so let's see. Do we have... Here we go. Look at that one. One of the things I love about the gum pieces is that they're so often designed to hold something between 2 points that you get these nice channels. And I can decide how to position them, except that piece did not take. Let's get a little more glue. I've got some zip kick here if I need it. A lot of time, if I was going to show off something like this, I would Bob Ross it and make sure that this is the third time you're seeing it. Well, third time I'm doing it, first time you're seeing it. But tonight, it's really just a sanity check. I have gone months without creating anything. I want to make some tiny little spaceships. Or apparently a tiny spaceship and a walker, because I asked and you answered, and that's my mistake. That's how we wound up with Bodie McBoatface. To be fair, I supported Bodie McBoatface, but asking is how that happened. If you don't want their answer, don't ask. Alright, zip kick. Don't fail me now. Boop, boop. All right.
I realize why I may be having trouble with my watercolor groove. All of my burbs are alive. I have live burbs. I'd really got on the kick with dead burbs.
I thought the big piece you were doing now on that fancy frame was a dead bird.
No, the Hudson is very much alive. He's just on a skeleton.
Oh.
He's perched on the dead people.
There we go. So we're starting to set up the idea that the engine is at this end. Again, you see what I mean about some of these gunful pieces, like that nice open channel. It's just lovely. It'll give me a lot of room for to bring wire through there, do some interesting things. Hey, thank you, Matthew, for liking the stream. We hit refresh chat. We've had so many new likes that I don't believe that we're
Actually caught up.
Hey, family. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who didn't miss it, this is Mrs. Monica. You're going the wrong way. My wife. We're technically teaching on the other side of her classroom, and that's the dog being ridiculously cute. Oh, are you going to talk to us? Talk. Ophia, talk. Oh, good talk. Good girl. Good talk. All right. So, hey, wife.
Hey.
Folks, we'll be right back. Ooh. I'm showing you my Domino's app. What do we got? Okay, giving you guys as I get dinner. You want me to pick you up? Yeah, great. That'd be great if you wanted to pick us up for dinner. It turns out that I don't want to quit doing this. So rather than, because it's usually me or Jess that do the cooking. Rather than cook, we're gonna order a pizza.
Keep farting.
Guys, knock yourself out. Talk amongst each other as soon as possible. We have 2 free pizzas available.
Yeah. Do you like me to do this so you can keep?
So you don't have to redeem the 2 free mediums, but you certainly can. Happy to provide input, even here live as we go. All right, so right now, just from the side, you can see I'm starting to take an interesting shape. I can also, if I choose to, do things like add actual fins. Now, I would not add a fin like this because, well, this isn't the 50s and that just looks goofy. So I wouldn't do that, but I could. And the point is, I can take any of my foam shapes and add them in here. So I'm going to use plenty of foam, which is why I generally cut myself a limited selection of, well, donor bits, unless I'm looking for specific pieces, because I have a concept sketch. Oh, John, thank you for liking the stream. Either I have a concept sketch or, yeah, well, some reference to work off. I'm going to break this piece. Okay, I'm going to try to break that piece. That's oh, it's because it's their ABS. All right. I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to put it right here because I'm trying to layer things up. I've got a nice center line here. Well, here, where that small tube is, the small vent is, and these pieces. So,
working again for you?
What do you mean?
The internet.
The internet has not disconnected for us, buddy.
Stop working, little one.
Yeah, it kicked him out.
Oh, it kicked him out of Fortnite?
Yeah, it kicked me out of Fortnite.
I don't know, dude.
Still.
Well, we're still broadcasting. Welcome to the end of the world, folks. We don't even know if kids can play Fortnite. I'm going to take this round piece from our acrylite bottle and put it right here. Oh, we've got more of these. Normally, I would heat this before I tried to bend it. Instead, I'm just using my fingers to rub it.
It's not what Ang would do.
In the olden times, depends on what we're getting. We can get the 2 medium free pizzas and one of them combo. I would like a combo. That sounds great. In the olden times, I would actually take these plastic pieces and put them on my incandescent bulbs. What's that, huh?
Do you want handmade pan or thin?
Excuse us 1 minute, folks.
Hello, everyone. Still here. Can you hear me? Testing, testing. Hello. Is there anybody out there? Oh, Greg, I miss New York pizza so fiercely, period. I do know what you're talking about. I miss New York slices. And for that matter, I miss New Jersey slices, because, yeah, close enough. So, we're trying to sort out dinner here in the house. Difficulty ordering pizzas. It's a thing that happens. So yeah, I'm still watercoloring. So again, this is my lady. I've started working on her sleeves. I'm gonna add more definition to the feather. Feathers coming off of her headdress. Once I'm satisfied with the formation of the poofy sleeves of her dress. But to also share with you guys a massive piece that I've been working on. And again, please prepare for ridiculous white contrast here. But yeah, that really does no justice to the piece I'm working on. Let's turn on the lights off. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Much better. So this bird is a Houghton. It's Amazonian. It's a freaky, stinky bird. And I have it perched on a skeletal hand, and we have some lovely orchids that are an endangered species draped around it. And now that I've turned that one light off and knocked over a bottle of Zip Kicker, you get a better look at my plague bearer. And there we go. Much more true to life there in that photo. So stormy skies, my favorite palettes of teals and purples and Payne's Gray. Hopeless amount of Payne's Gray. It's a great color. Shifts, depending on the pigment company you're working with, from blue to purple. The Daniel Smith shifts more blue. So I've added some ultramarine violet in with it to get the color that I have. Second light coming back on. Woo! And here we go.
What?
I discovered that if I turned one of the lights off, my painting
Oh, you
shows
can
up
actually
really
see
well.
your painting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, you're good. I'm sneaking. Squeezing. Making sure.
Dinner ordered.
Your contact list delivery has been placed. All right.
What are we getting?
Pepperoni, pineapple, and apple. In our super casual broadcast where we talk about pizza orders. So one of the things I did while I was away. So I have computer glasses that I take off whenever I'm actually working with models. That's right. Okay. There's no I'm talking about. Unless it's New York slice, it doesn't count. That's reasonably fair, but we have some pizza places in Sacramento that would blow your mind. Zelda's. You haven't been to Zelda's yet. We've got some places. The rest are just California pizzas, and I will admit that I miss my East Coast pizza, but I miss the rectangular Sicilian pizzas covered in fish. So, all right. So now I've got my center line. I've got a piece coming off of that, going over the top. Got some of these, some of those, some of this. Taking off my glasses. Let's see what we can do with some of these. Didn't really work. Even as a layer. Require some planning to make this work as a layer. Ooh, maybe not. Nah. Let's skip these big pieces. And you have very much a broadcast where I'm just farting around. I have no plan. Making stuff up as I go. Just having fun. But in the meantime, creating a three-dimensional story here on the side of this, which I will fill in with wire and other goodies. And halfway between these 2 points, I'm going to add one of these little divots. Let's see. I want, since this is my half line, I want some hatches. So let's look at some of the open pieces. I grabbed 2 B hatches. Too big. Let's see. Oh. Hello. Yep. One of these goes here. One of these gets held in place because it's got to displace that slightly, and I don't want that terribly displaced. Okay, so you go further back. No, that works out perfectly, because now it'll become part of the engine housing. Because I can put another one right. Clean that off. There. This one is actually different than that one, so let's make it much more different. Here we go. Lovely piece. Gives me some nice depth and dimension for the back end of this. I've got holes that I can put cables into. And again, I've had no plan, no concept art. I'm just farting around. Sorry. Okay. Sit, stay. Good plastic. All right, so you can see on this one, we're already starting to get a nice buildup. Oh, and I missed. Let's see, who was that? A few seconds ago. Jake! Jake, thank you very much. Oh no. Jess is doing emergency corrections to a watercolor right next to me. It's stressful.
There we go. So one of the beautiful things about watercolor is that if you make a mistake, and it's not too heavily a staining pigment, you can add water and daub it with a tissue, and then lather, rinse, repeat until it's light enough that you go, okay, I can fix that.
Just like all those times I've actually taken a miniature and just simply ducked my water bottle to clean it off.
Yes.
I
that
can't
can't-
hope you
except
get
that
that second where
I-
you're like,
I
no!
can't actually dip the entire piece of paper in water because then we wind up with the Houghton situation.
Yeah.
Where
Everything else is
was
streaking.
About ready to just throw that whole thing in the garbage, despite the fact that I've already invested like 30 hours into it.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Still might. I don't know. I haven't started the bird yet.
All right, so as a distraction, as I've noticed, I took put this back. I've got it on fixed. Fixed focus. Chiboom. Let's set it to autofocus for a little while. Oh, I don't even get to do that, right? Because this is that new. That's right. That was the whole point of this. Is I'm testing this new camera, which doesn't let me do any fine control because it's a knockoff, and all of my Logitechs were back ordered. All right, but what I've done in this case is taken a piece that has some space in it and laid it over one of the other pieces, and I'm looking to do that with my hobby knife, which I clearly ate. There's its cap. Well, it's gonna be one of those nights. There it is. So I love these pieces from Gunpla. Oh, I need to find out how to get my camera as clear set up as you get. Well, I appreciate hearing you say that, because one of the biggest complaints that I hear from my audience routinely is that my camera setup sucks monkey butts. So, not upside down, but this way, maybe. So I'll take these Gunpla bits that have these nice open areas and see what I can do to incorporate them over something else, because that three-dimensional aspect is tremendous. So if I can even right here. All right, so even before I start attaching wire and fine detail, and then I wander out and show you guys what it looks like with some primer on it. Ooh. I can, right out the gate, oh no, zip kick, it's sticking to my fingers. What are the odds? I'm gonna move my Manhattan so I don't drink any zip kick. The good news is I'll probably notice. Distancia. Out.
You can take that out?
Hmm?
You want me to take that out?
I don't know, I can take it out. But anything, a little something, something.
Take the top off? Shall I be Manhattan Fairy?
I don't know about Manhattan Fairy, but I'll take a... All right, so this guy...
Say no more, say no more.
This guy is interesting and will give us a wonderful look somewhere here, because this is the business end of our spaceship. All right, we've decided the cabashan goes here, the engine goes back here, so I want some more things coming this way is actually what I want. Water. All right. Well, I don't see any Gundam bits that I want, so I'm going to start cutting some fairly random foam core bits. This is all very rough, so I'm actually going to follow that line. Make it smoother. And I'm going to fill in some of this space. Some rough cut pieces there. It's foolish because I should be a ruler, because I need it to be flush. So let's get that ruler on the back. I said I didn't want a wedge like this, but I clearly do. I want a substantially smaller wedge, so let's freeform this. I do recommend using your S-curve and rulers for this sort of work, but now what I'll do to make this paintable is add some wood putty. And because I hate those sharp contrail edges with all of my heart and soul, I will cut that one off. This is not a big section that I'm gluing. So what I will do to more carefully apply glue is put a ball of wood glue there, reach across Jess, grab a Q-tip.
Try and get out of the way.
I probably should have just asked you to grab me a Q-tip. Would have been easier. Throw this Q-tip away because it's messy. Reach across Jess again. There we go. Hey, let go. So I've used the Q-tip to lay down my line of glue. And again, I will use wood putty to make that paintable. Plastic art is nice, but cutting plastic art at that thickness is a giant pain in the butt. However, you can see we start to have, from this dimension, our spaceship coming together. I still want some more interesting gubbins. So I'm looking to see which of the teeny tiny...
You keep saying gubbins, and I keep thinking back to Magic the Gathering and, like, hidden gibbons. Please tell me you played with hidden gibbons. I think they were Legacy?
I have no idea about
Legend?
it. I have no idea about hidden gibbons.
They're a card in Magic the Gathering. They're like hidden murder monkeys.
That makes me so happy. And yet it skipped
And
my
they're
Magic days.
Super duper old school.
No.
I mean,
For all my Royal Assassins and Black Lotus, I missed the Magic Murder
It's
gibbons.
still pre-color coding. It's still pre-color coding. So.
Oh, okay. So we're talking like alpha?
Um.
Because beta was color coded,
No.
wasn't it?
No. Nothing was color coded until the Urza saga.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You had to guess what was a rare and an uncommon back then. Woohoo.
Oh no, I stuck my hand in it.
Well, it's just wood
Of course
glue.
I did.
At least it's not CA.
Well, yeah. But of course I did. Because I'm not paying attention because it's the end of the world and I'm tired. Things and stuff. Alright, so I'm adding bits around this ring now. Coming back to our original focus point. Because again, I'm only interested in a limited section of the spaceship. Oh, we got a bunch of text messages.
Oh, my.
Totally right about it.
Painting tutorials using the practice sticks. Well, that's...
Steven, that's an interesting question. So the practice sticks are meant to try different techniques and then strip them easily because they're resin. So one of the things as an instructor I discovered is that while you're sitting there telling people like, hey, we're painting the shirt, we're painting the face, we're painting this one specific thing on a model, and I want you to do that with me as a group every time, was that 8 out of 10 of my students would be painting the pants. They're like, oh, I finished the face, so I'm painting the pants. I'm like, you didn't finish the face, so stop painting the pants. I'm not asking you to paint the pants. So I came up with the practice sticks as an idea for my classes originally, and I hadn't sold them. Because at that point I could be like, you're painting the face, and if you're painting something other than the face, I'm going to make you take your whole practice stick, dip it in isopropyl, strip it, reprime it, and move on. Like, nothing you just did counts in my class, because I told you to be working on this part. And we would work our way through the stick. I had not originally expected the sticks to be a popular product, but in terms of tutorials on how to use them.
Use them at conventions.
Well, the short answer is watch all of those YouTube tutorials. Watch all of the great painters out there. Listen to Caleb Wisenbach, Ben Comets, Aaron Lovejoy. So many. I could go on, and I feel bad for the ones that I've just missed who are going to go, hey, Justin, what about me? But, well, for that matter, Jess Rich, particularly for female flesh tones. She's one of the groundbreakers on that and teaches great classes on that. Yeah, just practice those techniques that you find online, whether it's wet blending, two brush, who gives a crap? Practice your techniques on something that is not a complete model. It's the same reason that when it comes to airbrushing, more than anything else, I recommend that people buy large format coloring books to learn how to airbrush. Because these things, they're big, right? Like I've got an 18 by 24 Frozen coloring book. I don't know. You're saying, well, Gustav's that guy, right? No. What's the
Gustav's the snowman?
Snowman? Okay, that's the guy I was looking for. You're like, Gustav's white. What's the point of a coloring book? But don't paint Gustav white.
Yeah. He's a big snowman. It's a perfect opportunity to
learn
practice how to shade and do spherical objects.
Yes, you get to paint spheres, and you get to paint inside of the lines, and you get to practice without having to worry about a model. My experience as a painter who has struggled particularly with figures, I'm much more comfortable with large models, or and yes, Stephen, this video will be available later on YouTube, of course. But I struggle with small figures. I prefer large models. I prefer vehicles. Heck, I forgot where I was going.
Well, we're talking about whether or not it's worth time to do online tutorials on the paint sticks.
Oh, right, on the paint sticks. But yeah, for all of that, as much as I've taken classes from all of these incredible figure painters: Jess Rich, Matthew Fontaine, Alfonso Geraldes, Ben Comets, Roman, Rafa, all of them. I mean, we can work our way down the list. Caleb, Bryce, Kat, Marika, Jen. Yeah. Each of them has taught me a different way to paint figures, and I have practiced each of those techniques on my practice sticks. So I could give a tutorial on how to use them. That would just be me teaching you how I paint figures, which, to be fair, is not very great.
Now, if you wanted to do a fun standoff video, we could each have a practice stick and go, okay, you have 30 minutes to complete this portion of the practice stick, and you and I paint in tandem and work with our different techniques to see what we come up with.
Also see how I can be very sad about painting next to Jess. But kidding aside, yeah, I'd be willing to do that. It's going to be a very different result. And I say this because...
But that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And I say this, and I promise the world I'm not trying to be needlessly modest here. I am not a particularly good figure painter. I put some effort into that. I got to be good for a while, with huge thanks to Kaz, Keith Robertson, Michael Lungo, who taught me to paint black, especially those three.
Well, the key to painting black is you don't use black.
You don't paint it black, but Michael Lungo gave me a formula that worked for me for years, and it was great. And he's a tremendous painter. One of the forgotten ones now, because he hasn't painted in a long time. Now he's a tremendous tattoo artist. Go figure. But I know that I might paint figures better than the average Bob. Oh my gosh, James Craig is watching. Dude, we are super famous. We had Ross. Oh my god, no, I got James. Wait, who's the other one? That other famous guy.
Keith?
It wasn't Keith Robertson.
No.
Anyway, we still love you. But anyway, I'm getting off the rails now.
We need Wobble to hop in.
We need Wobble. Yes, we do.
He's probably streaming right now. He never stops streaming. He never sleeps. He never eats.
He just streams.
He exists.
But we were saying, yeah, if it comes to something like a tutorial for my practice sticks, which are about figures, I would defer to figure experts instead. I have a pair of armor practice pieces that I don't sell anymore, and I'd be happy to do that.
You and I should do a stick off.
I'm happy to, except that I'm going to be sad because I'm not a figure painter.
Yeah, but you're going to use true metallics, and I'm not. And, you know, it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. I'm willing to give it a shot. If there's interest out there, I will absolutely do a round of practice sticks with Jess.
What say you, crowd? Would you like to see a practice stick-off between myself and Mr. Justin?
Practice stick-off.
Well, I don't know what else to call it.
I think that's pizza. I just heard the doorbell. And we might have been literally saved by the bell. Hey! Pizza has been delivered. Alright, so I'm putting this one slightly forward of here. I'm going to put something behind it. Oh, we have lots of messages. Currently at work, Florida ER. Ooh, so I have the volume turned down. Stay safe. Yeah, Steven, this video will be available later on YouTube. Dude, if you're in Florida ER, Steven, you stay safe, please. We're in Sacramento County. It's one of Northern California's top hotspots right now.
Yep.
But we've been playing it very safe for the last 5 months. And we will continue to play it very safe for the next 5 months. Because, hey, who needs a strong federal response when you have nothing? Speaking of which, mind getting me a shot?
Not at all. One for myself.
And then we're going to need to quit pretty quick to go have dinner.
Oh, I'm still waiting for my pizza to get here. Well, let's do it this way.
Slancia, folks.
Slancia.
Odd. Wapple talks about food his entire stream. What about Kathy? I mean, I can believe that Jim talks about food his entire stream.
Kathy probably talks about stuffed animals. She's got a thing for stuffed animals, which I adore.
She has a thing for ugly dolls, which I adore.
Black Phillip. My primary stuffy.
Mine is Mr. Zebra, but I'm not going to go get it. That was my wife checking in to say, hey, are you coming out? And I said, well, Jess ordered her own pizza.
Dinner's ready, Pops.
Thank you, Seamus. This is my son, Seamus.
You guys coming?
We are. Jess ordered her own pizza, it turns out. So we're waiting for that to get here.
Pops, I got killed by Jules.
Oh my goodness, you got killed by Jules?
Hey, Pops.
He's talking about Fortnite, of course. So if you or your child play Fortnite and you're willing to put up with a child who has ADHD and likes to jump around and be loud when he's playing games, he will be happy to join
And
you.
at the household.
Hey, Papa.
Seamus,
70.
your levels. That's awesome that you're level 70.
I'm almost level 100.
Well, you've unlocked Jules, which is the only part of this season that I care about. So,
Is that the kitty cat with the scar?
no, it's the tattooed chick who's a super mechanic.
Oh, not Melee from Not Bombshell.
Not Melee from Not Bombshell. Yeah, she's got the giant wrench.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Keith, if you're watching, man, there's a character on Fortnite this season that looks very much like Melee, your character. All right, so
She looks so much like Melee that I'm like, you stole part of the color scheme I used when I painted up the studio model.
yeah.
What the heck?
All right, so for folks that have been following along, here's my half spaceship. Oh, and my cabochon is hopefully back in the bag. Normally I'm smart enough to put my cabochons back in the bag. So what I'm going to do... Oh, wow, this one... Oh, okay, has a sticker cabochon attached to it. I'm like, what the heck? I've got some little tiny cabochons that have stickers in the back. But I wondered what was up with this one. So, yes, kid.
Maybe after dinner, if it's okay, and if it's okay with Mama, could you allow Mama to use your computer to play Fortnite with me?
Oh, I will be happy to let Mama use my computer to play Fortnite with you or whatever else you like. And I'm still putting out a call to all these wonderful people out here that if they play Fortnite, particularly if they have kids or are willing to put up with a kid who has ADHD, they should come and play with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, so this is my half line. We're using this dot between these two big vents. This is my half line. So we're looking at the spaceship entirely from this direction. And I've got that beautiful cabochon here in the front that I'm going to mask and paint. I've got all of these beautiful lines. I'm going to take another version of the foam and I'm going to put it down on this one. I know I said at the beginning of this that I normally hate foam little vents, but in this case, because of what I have, I like it. And I don't have hard plastic vents that I like more. I think this works. And then what I'm going to do is take Wood Putty. That's why I have big old buckets of these all over the place. I like the color change wood filler, especially since it lets me know when I'm actually finished. But I will put it over the foam edge and along the edges so that I can actually take an enamel primer and do this. Jack says yes. Wait, what?
You added for Jack Fallout 76. Jim can play Fortnite with him too.
James Wapple equals painting machine, like a robot himself. He will not deny. Yeah, James. I've got to tell you. Between you and Jim, Jim and I have been friends. He was one of the first friends I had in the miniature community. In fact, I don't know how we hit it off. That's not true. I do know how we hit it off. We were the only people awake at like 4 a.m. down in a painting area going.
Well,
and we bonded over our usness. And I don't need to say more about that.
No, and Jim and I hit it off with our mutual time at Malifaux for Gen Con crushes, like maybe 11 or 12 years ago, where it's like, it's all the stuff we have to pay for Malifaux. So no sleep because you're like
memories,
3 days out from Gen Con and you're like, I have 40 models to paint.
For all the memories I have of James Wapple, which mostly involve us lamenting over our past artistic aspirations versus the reality of making money as an artist. You don't get to chime in because you get to make money as an artist. You're awesome.
Haven't in a while, but I'm trying.
Any minute now.
Yeah.
As soon as this piece is finished.
Or this one.
My favorite memory of James Wapple is a Gen Con. My first Gen Con, in fact, I was there with Simon, Coming or Not, selling my bases. They built this whole
What year was this?
display. I don't know. They built this whole display for me, which we now own. When Simon decided to drop all non-Simon products, they actually offered. They were like, hey, we've got this whole display that we built for the Sequel and stuff at our shows. Would you like it? And they simply delivered it to me at Adepticon. So again, love those guys. Simon does what they can. But we were at Gen Con that first year. The first year I was there with Simon, and they had a camera, and I was doing this like whole ShamWow pitch for the pigments. Someone came over. It wasn't Kathy. It wasn't James. It was just some rando. And whomever you are, if you're hearing this, please chime in because I'd like to remember who you are. But someone came over and said, hey, Justin, James is over here at the Malifaux booth, and he's doing some Wild West Exodus stuff because they were still tied at the time. And he needs some pigments. And of course,
that actually means our paths crossed sooner than I thought they did.
Perhaps. But it was the year that Wild West Exodus had launched, and James was in their booth doing the armored train car.
Yep. With his thumbs.
So, excuse me. Yeah, like an hour later, one of my good friends comes over to me, and he's just all verklempt, and he's like, Justin, you've got to get over to the Weird booth and tell James to stop what he's doing. And I'm like, what is he doing? And he says, well, he didn't have any paint or any brushes because they didn't bring any for him. So he's taking your pigments and some spit and his fingers, and he's painting a whole model.
Yeah.
So, of course, I did the only reasonable thing. I went running over there immediately so that I could go, "Holy crap! You've painted this model with your fingers and your spit and my pigments." Because if you look at the original armored train car for Malifaux, it's, or sorry, for AE Wild West Exodus.
Wild West Exodus. Yes.
That initial armored train car painting is tremendous, and James Waffle literally did it with his
Yeah.
fingers,
Yep. Nope.
spit,
I was there. Yep.
and pigments. And after the initial person came over to tell me, like, you have to get James to stop doing this. Yeah, it was just for the next, like, 6 hours of the vendor hall being open, it was just people coming over and going, "Justin, do you know what Jim Wapple is doing with your pigments?" And I was like, "Yes, I do!"
Right.
He's teaching people a valuable lesson.
Well, okay.
Well, maybe we should turn off both.
That one work too. Maybe both. Well, that's actually closer to the actual pigmentation coloration.
Yeah, the white balance is still bad because we don't have the lights on, and we did the white balance for the.
If
You
it,
want me to let me white balance you?
I'm,
What are we doing? Let me see what my.
I'm-
Oh, Thomas Foss. What?
what? Hey, Tom.
Hey, dude. All dinner is here. So Monica says all dinner is here. All right. So we are configuring video. White balance.
There we go. Beautiful. Perfect.
There.
Yeah.
All right. There
All
you
right.
go.
So
You get to see Jess work.
this is my as I said earlier in the broadcast, this was a plague bearer that I started back in January. I initially did the pencil sketch.
God, that was Jenny.
Bad timing, or I don't know, a little
To be fair, you're
prognostication.
always making plague bearers and plague crows, and
I am.
you have a fascination with pandemics. So
I do. For those of you that don't know, as we're about to wrap up the broadcast here, a pastime of mine, a hobby, if you will, was to study plagues and pandemics. Yeah, there's a photo of me on Facebook where I have just gotten my nose pierced and I have a hat on and I'm smiling and happy as a clam because I'm like, woohoo, we're gonna have a global pandemic! And I take all of it back. I want to take all of it back. I wanted to see one in my lifetime beyond HIV and AIDS. Many regrets. But at any rate, this is my Plague Witch in progress, and she's working in tandem with the Houtzen on the skeleton hand. Both theoretically should be done sometime next week as time allows, because I also spend a lot of time at the warehouse packing orders and making sure that Secret Weapon customers are super duper happy.
yeah, to be fair, Jess is one of 3, well, part-time employees that we can even 4 part-time employees we can even have. We have a 4th as of today, but we have Nolan, who's casting resin part-time,
Yep.
who has done such a tremendous job of catching us up with his hardcore resin casting skills.
Yeah, we need the heat wave to pass for him to continue, but yes.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to cast because the Sacramento heat wave means that even if we're running the air conditioner in the casting room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
It's still pushing 90. It's not viable.
yeah, it's not viable. He needs that room to be in the low 70s to low 80s maximum.
Yeah.
Like, if he hits 82, 83, casting resin is going to be a problem because it's an exothermic process.
Yes.
And it's a problem. And we're running air conditioner, but California is seeing
Switch to full screen.
historic heat waves. Yes, kiddo.
We're almost done, Seamus.
If we watch Wizards.
No, we'll come out with
We'll
you,
be out in just a moment.
Mr. Underwear Man.
We'll be out in just a moment.
Get out of here, Mr. Underwear Man.
1 minute.
All right, it's clearly time for us to go.
Yeah, it's time for dinner.
1 minute, 1 minute.
But
Yes, we're coming.
But that being said, yes. Nolan comes in to cast when he can. The heat wave has been a bit of an impediment because we can't keep the cold room cold enough, and we're trying to keep coronavirus vectors limited.
He's the resin caster I have had. 3 resin casters.
Yeah.
He is the resin caster with the lowest exposure vector.
Yes.
Which is important in Sacramento County, which is a hotspot.
Myself and Lindsay are.
Nolan is coming in 3 days a week to pour resin, and the reason we're doing that is that he's coming in at midnight to deal with the heat wave, but also because the air conditioner that cools the casting room pulls from the general warehouse space. So we don't want him in there while Lindsay and Jess are sweating and breathing in the main warehouse.
Yeah.
So they come in the morning. Jess and Lindsay, you're coming in about 7. Turn on the air conditioner.
Generally 6:30, yeah.
Turn on the air conditioner and run it all day. Nolan is supposed to come in at midnight and cast, which is 8 hours after Jess and Lindsay have left. So, because the air conditioner is pulling it from the warehouse and blowing into the casting room, it should be enough time to reduce his exposure risk.
Yeah.
But he's only doing that 3 days a week. So we have 3 days a week of casting instead of 7 days a week of casting. But we're doing it. The crew is doing a great job. I don't want to say we because I have nothing to do with it.
Myself and Lindsay today did a bang up job of getting. I didn't run the report, but I'm going to say today close to 120 orders that we got out today. So.
Well, and we were just a month ago at 600 orders behind, and now we're 325.
Yeah, we're no longer
so
there. Yes,
it's been great. But we have a question, and we do need to quit and stop babbling, rambling.
4x4 shattered ritual.
I was going to get
the word.
Eric, Enix, excuse me. We have never had a 4x4 play board. If you mean, are we going to do Shattered Ritual for our tablescapes tiles? At some point, almost certainly yes. Unfortunately, Wargames Factory extorted us, screwed us, destroyed our tools. Wargames Factory, destroyed the Tablescapes Tiles product. We have every intention of bringing the Tablescapes Tiles back with new themes. To be fair, fewer options because it turns out we don't need 16 per theme. On the whole, some yes, some no. But it'll be good to make 8 tile themes for things like Shattered Ritual, Ruined Temple.
Ruined Temple, of course.
Yeah. Particularly Ruined Temple, which includes Ruined Temple, Silent Halls, Imperial Halls, and that other one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel Mitt Romney right now. But anyway, that other one. Yeah, we've got lots of ideas for the new tile series.
Put urban into that.
And we will make sure that the tooling, even if it happens in China, the manufacturing happens in the US. And we'll work with our friends at Reaper Miniatures to make sure that happens. But for the moment, That's my wife checking in to remind me that pizza's here. Want me to hold eating for you, which means that
They're ready to eat, so we
as
have to
much
go.
as we love you folks, we gotta go. Y'all have a good night. Oh, how many do we have 4x4? Oh, yeah. Annex, the 1x1 tiles will be back. We're sold out of them at the moment.
Yeah.
Because we did a flash sale to make room in the warehouse for the new HD bases, and we managed to oversell the tablescape styles because in the 3 or 4 hours we were in the warehouse, by the time we went back to the printer, we were like, stop, turn it off. We don't know that we have this many.
Yeah.
But
And
it's such a good product. I hope to bring it back. Literally, the only thing that could stop us is that I would prefer to do a license with GW for hyper detailed accessory kits for their models, and the way that Aber and Verlinden have done for the historic community for decades. I would love to be able to offer milled aluminum or brass barrels for the 40K community. And I recognize that GW might say, hey, you make a competing table, you have to make a choice. So that's where we're at.
and to where RSB, thank you for saying that you absolutely love painting your corpse field base. They're super awesome, and thank you for the love.
As she said. That said, thank you. If I don't go have pizza with my family, I'm going to get in trouble. This was not the build-off that I expected, but let me give you guys one last quick preview. So, in that time, I turned a 90-degree spaceship, into all of those. Oh, because it wasn't open the whole time. I see. It's going to update. But we already have, with the cabochon on this end, look at that.
Pretty hot.
Let's turn off one of these. Get on the magic space school bus. That's just a few random Gundam bits. Never mind before I get in there with plastic card and more foam core and my wires.
All right.
So thank you all for tuning in. This was incredibly random.
Love to do it again.
What?
Did you send it via email?
Wait, dude, I hope I get this right. If you're literally this instance painting corpse field space, oh my god, thank you.
Yeah, I called them out, yeah.
NXOK, sweet, thanks, because that was the tile set for the War Machine swords. Yep. And that's what we've got. Thank you all for your time and attention. Yeah, we'll do this again. I miss doing this. Thank you all for tuning in. It really is great just being able to just being able to create. It's been months since I've been able to create, so thank you.